Recording in progress.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Miss, I have 10 number camera that is black color.
Kaudame Sadev.
Saving.
Ah, saving. Okay. So for today also I didn't share any question paper because we started the lesson last Tuesday. In order to prepare a question paper, there is not that much in that lesson from the part that we have discussed. Sorry, today also I thought of just discussing certain things related to the previous lessons, right? Previous lessons that you have done in grade 8, which will become important in grade 9. මතකද ගිය සතියේ we discussed about, yes, can you remember where we stopped? We discussed about the organizational levels, unicellular and multicellular organisms. Can you remember? අපි මොනවද කතා කළේ කියන්න බලන්න. Turn on the videos, all of you. ඔබේම මූණු පේන්න ඕනේ. Yes. What are the things that we discussed last week? කියන්න බලන්න. Yes. Oh. කතා කරන්න ඕනේ. Yes. Miheli, Atish, Sedara, Hiruja, Sadev. Hiruja, what did we discuss? Kian Bala?
Teacher, I didn't came last week.
You didn't come on last week. Who came? Ranushi.
Two parts of organisms, unicellular and multicellular.
Hari. Then we mentioned about the organizational levels of organisms. Then the uses and the adverse effects of microorganisms. Then, yes, SI units. Yes, Netumi. Tavamanada. Scalar and vector quantities. Is it? Yes. We discussed about scalar and vector quantities as well. Scalars and vectors. Hari. Ko tamin no pain nati aya. I can't see four of you. Then Hari. Then tavat hatarak inna. Hari. So our second unit is that is based on the two sensory organs. Now we become sensitive to light. We can see the things. The sensory organ which is associated with vision is the eye, right? Then we learn about the human ear, right? Human ear. So ear is the sensory organ which is responsible for the auditory sensations. We can hear the things because of the ear. Likewise, how many sensory organs do we have? Yes, how many sensory organs do we have? Yes, Kiana. What are the sensory organs that we have?
Eyes, ears,
Right. Sensory organs. So eyes. Hari. Eyes are responsible for vision. Then
ears,
ears are responsible for, yes, hearing or auditory sensation. Right, hearing. Then what next?
nose, mouth,
Nose is responsible for smell, or we call it as the olfaction, right? Smell. Then the tongue is responsible for taste. There are taste buds on the tongue, right? Taste. Then finally, the skin, that is responsible for temperature, feeling temperature. Then something like pressure, pain. For these senses, it is sensitive. So these are the sensations perceived by these sensory organs. Pressure and sometimes even the pain, right? Okay. You can take down those. අපි එහෙම ටික ටික මතක් කරගමු. The very important points. Then we are in the second unit we will be discussing about the structure of the human eye and the ear. Hi. It was about the human ear. What do you know? So there is a particular range of sound frequencies to which we become sensitive. Can you remember that range?
20 Hz to 20,000.
20 Hertz to 20,000 Hertz. Very good. Hi. We'll mention about that also. And now I'm going to clear the things and we'll write about the frequency range of frequencies to which we become sensitive, range of audible frequency. To man. Hi. So that is from 20 Hertz to 20 Hertz. You know, Hertz is the unit used to measure the frequency of sound. Hertz. Right? That is capital H, simple Z. 1 Hertz is equal to 1 per second. In 1 second, how many cycles occur? That is what we mean by this. 20 Hertz to 20,000 Hertz. Right? So frequencies above 20,000 Hertz are considered to be above 20,000. We call these as monowaves. Yes? Frequencies above 20,000. We call them as, this is the audible frequency range. Frequencies above 20,000 Hertz are known as ultrasound waves. Ultrasound. So there are certain animals which become sensitive to ultrasound waves. The bats make use of ultrasound waves in order to find their way. Right? Then the frequencies below 20 Hertz. Below 20 Hertz. These are known as, above ultrasound, below 20 Hertz, we call these as infrasound waves. Infrasound waves. Infrasound waves. There are certain organisms, animals which are sensitive to infrasound waves also. Okay, you can use different colors and take them down. Sadev, Sedara, Deshika. Harry, it was said, if we think of the speed of sound, in different media, when we compare the speed of sound and speed of light in air, what can you say? Yes. If we compare the speed of sound and speed of light, what can you say? Which is the highest in air?
Speed of light.
Speed of light is faster. Yeah. How do you know that? So when it is lightning, yes, when it is lightning, we see the light first, right? Then we can close our eyes because the sound is, close our ears because the sound is heard few seconds later, right? That is because, shall I clear this? Just show me the book that you are maintaining for the paper class. Just hold it to the camera. Okay. So all of you. You have to be honest. Mandana, you are very good, honest children. Hari. Ko Abhinu? Padak ne? Athena. Hari. Sadev and Siddhara, I can't see you all. Okay, all the others showed. Hiruja? Okay. ලස්සනට මට ඇතුළ තමයි පෙන්වන්න ඕනේ පොතේ, not the cover page. හරි, okay, good. හරි, okay. අන්න එහෙම ලස්සනට වැඩ කරන්න ඕනේ. So, if we consider the speed of sound in air, we can say it is about 330 or 340 meters per second. That means in 1 second, sound travels 330 meters. Right? 330 or 340 meters per second. ms minus 1 in 1 second. I will write the meaning also. Sound travels 330 meters in 1 second. Right? Sound travels 330 meters in 1 second. Then what about light? Can you remember the speed of light in air? Matakada? Kokianen. Speed of light in air. Speed of light in air. That is about, yes, 3 into 10 to the power 8 meters per second. 3 into 8, 10 to the power 8 meters per second. Again, if we write it like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This much meters per second. Right? But if we divide, it is 300,000 kilometers in 1 second. In order to convert meters into kilometers, we have to divide this by 1000, right? And if we divide this by 1000, that is 300,000 kilometers per second. The idea and what is the maximum distance from north to south in Sri Lanka? Geography for something. Yes? Here.
430.
Yes, Janumi? 432
kilometers.
32 kilometers. That means when you travel from point Deundara to point Pedro, that is 432 kilometers. එච්චර දුර ගිහිල්ලා 432 kilometers. දැන් මෙතන 300,000 kilometers in 1 second. ඒක තත්පරයක් මෙහෙම කරනකොට 300,000 kilometers ගිහිල්ලා. Can you imagine? Right? So the meaning of this is light travels 300,000 kilometers in 1 second. Kilometer ලක්ෂ 3ක් යනවා එක තත්පරයක. Right, so you can compare the speed of sound and light. So light travels very fast when compared to sound. Sadev and Sedara, please turn on the video, Bute. Delani, no? Delani. Did you join? No, Mikol, Mikol. That's Mikol, no? Fernando, Mikol මුණ පේන්නේ නැහැ. Dark වෙලා තියෙන. Is it Mikol? Hi. Okay. Mellow කවුද කියලා. Right, done. Hari. ඊළඟට අපි බලමු. Now we compare the speed of sound and speed of light. Then we'll see now we mentioned about the 5 sensory organs and the sensations perceived by them. No? So what is the pathway in which these nerve impulses get transmitted? Right, in grade 8 you have learned about it. In the coming lessons also you will have to mention about it. So the 5 sensory organs and what is meant by a stimulus. Now when you are on your way home, imagine that you are walking from your school to home. When you are traveling on your way, you hear someone clapping behind, right? So hearing, there you heard the sound of clapping. So that becomes the stimulus. That is a change in the environment which made out a response in you. එතකොට ඇහිච්ච ගමන් මොකද කරන්නේ? You turn back, you turn around to see who that is. නේ? ඒක හිතලාද කරන්නේ? Do you, I hear someone clapping, I need to just එහෙම හිතලා කරන වෙලාවලුත් තියෙනවා. So most probably automatically we just turn around to see who that is, නේ? එතකොට anyway our response is looking back or turning around. That is a response. So because of the change in the environment, we came up with a response, right? A stimulus is perceived and a response is given out. In between these, then mokadune, we heard from our ears. The sensory organ is the ear, right? The stimulus was perceived by the ear. Ear became the sensory organ there. It was we turned around, we looked back by using the muscles of the neck, right? Muscles of the neck. We call the muscles of the neck as the effector, as the effector, right? This is known as the effector. අන්න අපි මේවට නම් දෙනවා. We perceive the stimulus. There are the stimuluses sound. I will say sound. Don't write, I will give you time to write. So this is the sensory organ. Sensory organ. අපි මෙහෙම topic එකක් දාමු before writing this. Consider the following instance. Consider the following instance. Consider the following instance. Consider the following instance. We hear you hear a clapping sound. You hear a clapping sound. When you were on your way home. When you were on your way home. When you were on your way home. Hi. අන්න ඊට පස්සේ අපි ලියමු the pathway of the nerve impulse transmission. එහෙමත් ලියමු අපි. Pathway of the nerve impulse transmission. Pathway of the nerve impulse transmission. Okay. දැන් මොකද වෙන්නේ? You got the stimulus from your ear and you gave the response by using the muscles of your neck. Right? So what happens there? Then there should be a coordination part in between. There should be a coordination part in this. මොකද වෙන්නේ දැන්? So this is the effector. The response is given by the effector. And කවුද coordinate කරලා දෙන්නේ මේ දෙන්නව? Who does the coordination in between these two? Yes. කවුද කරන්නේ? We have the Manada. Yes, the brain and the spinal cord. Brain and the spinal cord. So the nerves are connected, right? So from the ear to the central nervous system. Api central nervous system kiyala kiyanne the brain and the spinal cord. Central nervous system is there. Central nervous system. right? It consists of brain and the spinal cord. Brain and the spinal cord. Right. එතකොට from ear to the central nervous system, the nerve impulses are transmitted through a type of neurons known as sensory neurons, right? Then inside the central nervous system, now there should be a particular processing that is done by a type of neurons known as interneurons or intermediate neurons. Then the command should be given to the muscles of the neck to turn around, right? That is done by that impulse is transmitted from the central nervous system to the muscles of the neck through the motor neurons. They follow when we become sensitive to a particular stimulus and when we are responding, right? Then an insect comes towards your eyes at this moment. You just automatically, sometimes you just chase it away or you just blink your eyes. You come up with a response instantaneously. That is because of the nerve impulse transmission like this, right? So you just perceive a stimulus and you come up with a response. So remember, the effectors are always a muscle or a gland. Always a muscle or a gland. You come up with a response with the help of a muscle or a gland. Then you get the smell of cooking in the kitchen. Automatically saliva gets secreted, right? That is a natural process, biological process, right? So the saliva is secreted with the help of salivary glands. The effector is the salivary gland there, right? Now again, the scientists have done certain experiments also. Make the color muscle or a gland. Maybe responses, the reflex actions, or again, there are so many experiments that the scientists have done. They have done experiments by using dogs. Then if you have a pet dog or a pet cat, they know when they are going to be feeded. Plate they know that they are going to be given food. So the salivation occurs and saliva gets secreted even out of the mouth in those dogs, right? එතකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ එහෙම කෑම දීලා බැලුවා ටික දවසක්. ඊට පස්සේ කෑම නැතුව අර කෑම දෙන වෙලාවට they rang a bell. මේ කෑම දෙන වෙලාවට they rang a bell. ඊට පස්සේ when they become used to that මොකද කළේ? Without giving the food they rang the bell. Bell එක ගහන්න පටන් ගත්තා. එතකොට in that instance also salivation occurred. It is used. It knows that the bell and the food are related. There are certain experiments that have been done related to this. Later on we will give the name reflex arc. Reflex arc. The pathway through which the nerve impulses are transmitted. Finished? Then අපි තව දෙයක් මතක් කරගමු. Okay. Turn on the videos පුතේ. Netumi, Sadev, Gavish, Chenuti, Sedara and Yumet. Hari. ඊළඟට අපි බලමු ඉවරයි නේද? Right. Then let's see. Now there are certain diseases that we get because of a causative agent, right? What we call as pathogens, right? There are causative agents. For example, if we take dengue fever, that is a viral disease. Virus is the pathogen, or what we call as the transmission of diseases. Transmission of diseases. Right. Then I mentioned about a virus. Virus. So it is known as the causative agent or the pathogen. Or we can call it as the causative agent. Then who get the disease? Our example is dengue fever. Right. Who get the disease? We'll say man. Right. The man is the host. Which gets the disease. Host. He is known as the host. He or she is known as the host. So who takes the virus into man? Yes, who carries the virus to man? That is done by the mosquito, neither. Mosquito. Nice mosquito like this. Right, it takes the virus to the man. And now who is the mosquito here? That is the, yes, louder. Unmute කරලා කියන්න. ගෙදර ඉඳන් කිව්වට මට ඇහෙන්නේ නැහැ. Yes? Just unmute and tell what do you call the mosquito here? It takes the pathogen to the host. Then what do you call it?
This is
Yes, Deshika?
vector.
That is known as the vector. This is known as the vector. The vehicle which transmits the pathogen towards the host. Matter transportation then the vector. Right? These three terms also become important when we are talking about the diseases transmitted by pathogens. Then some of them are airborne diseases. The virus or the bacterium can enter into our body through airborne diseases. Then there is no special living vector there. Right? It is caused through air. It is spread through air. And Pute, please turn on the videos. It is something I highly expect from you. You have to keep your videos on. මම හරිම කැමතියි ඔයාලගේ මූණු දැකලා ඔයගොල්ලෝ කරන දේ පෙනිලා වැඩ කරන්න. Then it is something like a physical setup. මම ඔයගොල්ලෝ දිහා මේ බලන්නේ. I have a separate screen to see you all. In addition to the main computer that I am using, I have a separate screen. මම මේක දිහා බලාගෙන තමයි මේ කතා කරන්නේ. එකයි සමහර වෙලාවට කැමරා එක පැත්ත නැතුව වෙන පැත්තක් බලන්නේ. I am looking at your faces, so I feel that I am in a physical setup. ඉස්සරහින් ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඉන්නා වගේ තමයි මට පේන්නේ. Hari. ඊළඟට what next? Then in the case of the human eye, when we discuss about the functioning of the human eye, how we can see the things, which are close to our eyes, and then the objects which are far away. There we mention about another diseases, as well as in some of the instances the eye muscles may not be acting properly, they may not be functioning properly. Then we come up with disorders, defects, diseases and disorders, right? Defects of vision, you may have heard long sightedness, short sightedness. Likewise, there are certain defects of vision. They are different from the normal setup. Defects. Then diseases associated with the eye, glaucoma. There are certain disease conditions, right? There are disorders also. Then there are certain infections also, eye infections. Related to a disease, there are so many terms that we should be familiar with. Defects, disorders, infections, right? Regarding the microorganisms, we have mentioned last week, the virus, almost all the virus cause diseases to us. They are visible only through the electron microscope. They cannot be seen through a compound microscope. Those things we have mentioned. Hari. Finally, we will revise about them. I just mentioned certain things related to biology most probably. If we move on to a chemistry part, now everything around us can be divided into two categories. Manadame two categories. Yes, the things around us can be divided into two categories. In grade 6 you have learned, but until grade 11 these things will become important, right? Things around us can be divided into two categories. What are they?
Living things and non-living things.
Living things and non-living things. Living things and non-living things also come under matter, no? Right? How about the in their classification? So both living and non-living things come under matter.
Matter and energy.
Right, matter and energy. Matter and energy. So what do you mean by matter? Yes? Things that yes. Things that are having a mass and occupying space. Right? They are known as matter. Then when it comes to energy, now we are making use of energy. This room is full of lights, but I can't touch. That light does not occupy. Light is not the light bulb. The light energy that does not occupy space here. It does not have a mass. Therefore, energy does not have a mass. And does not occupy space. It does not occupy space. Mass, it does not have a mass and it does not occupy space. Right. Okay. Mass. Then matter. Matter can be divided once again. Matter can be divided into two categories once again. Monada. Yes. Matter can be divided into two categories. Right? That can be divided into two categories. What are they? Yes, what are the two categories to which we can divide matter? Kian Balan. Yes, what are the two things? Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning, miss.
ඔයා ක්ලාස් එකද?
Oh,
අප්පයි මේ මට අගාර කියලා තියෙනවා මේ අද ක්ලාස් එකේ grade 6 කවුරුත් හිටියද ළමයි?
එහෙම දන්නේ නැහැ මිස්. පොඩ්ඩක් log වෙලා බලන්න ඒ වෙලාවට විනාඩි 15ක් විතර බලලා නැත්නම් අයින් වෙනවා.
ඒ මොකද මම grade 6 එක අයින් කරන්නම් මේ උත්තර.
හා හා.
නැත්නම් අපරාධ.
අදින් පස්සේ බලමු අපි.
ඔව් අද බලන්නම් මම.
හරි හරි.
බලන්න.
Right. So, yes, what are the two categories of matter? Matter can be divided into, yes, based on the composition. Based on the composition, matter can be divided into pure substances and kokiyanna. Pure substances and mixtures, neither. Isn't it? Matter can be divided into pure substances and mixtures. ඊට පස්සේ what are the two types of pure substances? Can you tell? Yes, early in the morning you have to be energetic. Yes, what are the two types of pure substances?
Elements and compounds.
Okay, good, Hiruja. Elements and බලන්න මම බෝඩ් එක දිහා බලාගෙනම කියන්න පුළුවන් from the voice that is Hiruja. Elements and compounds. Elements and compounds. Right. Then the mixtures are once again of two types. Mixtures are of two types. What are they? Mixtures are of two types. Hari. What are they? What are the two types of mixtures? Yes. What are the two types of mixtures? Huh? Yes, mixtures can be divided into two categories. Koko matak karanna. Homogeneous mixtures and heterogeneous mixtures. Hari මේ ගැන ආපහු grade 9 වලත් කියනවා grade 11 වලත් ආයි කියලා දෙනවා. දැනට තියෙන syllabus එකේ homogeneous and heterogeneous mixtures කියලා there are two categories. Heterogeneous, homogeneous and heterogeneous mixtures. There are two types of mixtures accordingly. Hari neda? Okay. Just take it down. අනේ නංග සද්ද කරන්න එපා මණිකේ. අඬන්න එපා මගේ පැටියා. අම්මා නංගට දෙන්නද චිත්‍රයක් අරගෙන කොලයක්. dotted lines TV එක. හැබැයි මේකේ සබ්ද ගොඩාක් තියෙන බෑමට අපච්චි මොකක්ද උතරයි. සබ්ද කරන්න බෑ හැබැයි. හරි හරි. සබ්ද නවත්තන්න. Then, so here we have divided matter as pure substances and mixtures based on the composition. ඊළඟට තව දෙයක් මතකද? Based on the physical state. මේක ඉවරද? හැමෝම ලියලා ඉවරයිනේ? Bude anidase on a Saturday morning by 7 o'clock you all should be prepared in order to turn on the videos. Monday ka අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ඕනේ දෙයක්. සමහර අය අද videos off කරන් ඉන්නේ. එහෙම බෑ. Matter can be divided into three categories based on the physical state. Physical state, you all know that. Right, physical state, yes.
Solids, liquids and gases.
Solids, liquids and gases. ඒ දේශිකා නේද? Solid, liquid and gas. These are the three categories. And you have learned about changes in state also. Solid turns into liquid. What do you call that? solid turns into liquid. What do you call that process? Yes. Then liquid into gas. We'll mention about the state changes also. Solid into liquid, that is known as melting. නැත්නම් අපි ඔකට තව word එකක් use කරනවා, melting or fusion. Melting or fusion. ඊට පස්සේ liquid turning into gas, that is known as yes, liquid turning into a gas. Vaporization or evaporation. Then boiling, even you can say. We'll say vaporization. Vaporization. Right. Then when a gas is cooled down, it turns into its liquid state once again. When a gas is cooled, it turns into its liquid state. What do you call that?
Condensation.
Condensation. That is condensation. Condensation. Then a liquid is solidified. What do you call that?
Freezing.
Freezing. Freezing. Freezing. Okay. These are the changes in state. There are three states of matter based on the physical state: solid, liquid and gas. And the changes of state, they are given different names.
Solid into gas.
Solid into gas without passing the liquid state, what do you call it?
Sublimation.
Sublimation. Sublimation. Very good. Solid turning into a gas without passing the liquid state. For example, we can take iodine. Iodine crystals, they turn into iodine gas without passing the liquid state. හරි. ඔන්න එහෙනම් අද අපි මොනවද කතා කළේ? දැන් වැදගත් දේවල් ටිකක් මතක් වුණාද? තව ටිකක් first unit එක ඉස්සරහට ගියාම we can discuss questions based on that. තාම අපි පටන් ගත්ත ගමන් නිසා තමයි මම these are also very important. අපි ගිය සතියේ කතා කරපු දේවල්. ඔයාලට paper revision, revising, right? මතක් කරලා දෙනවා. ඉතින් අනිත් දවසේ උදේම ලෑස්ති වෙලා join වෙන්න. Early in the morning can 5 o'clock, maybe 7 o'clock you are joining. I'm starting the classes at 5 o'clock on Saturdays, right? Enisa may be prepared and join, right? Camp videos on karala ඊට වඩා ටිකක් කතා කරන්න, to have a discussion, to ask questions more and more. Then it will be very effective. මම කැමති ඔය ඊට වඩා ටිකක් කතා කරලා ප්‍රශ්න අහලා ඉන්නවා. Okay then, so we'll meet again on Tuesday with the theory class. There we will, I hope to finish majority of the lesson on the coming Tuesday in the first lesson. After that, on the coming Saturday, we will be able to discuss things related to the first unit, revise the things, questions, right? Okay then, see you on Tuesday. Stay safe and have a nice week. Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Baba. I'm going to go to the